I guess their night was last night, right? It was ARDC was here last night. We'll pass the word on to them. No, excellent point. Mr. Feltenberger, it comes up with the slingshots. You know, is Grandview too big to put on a good competitive slingshot race? And I don't mean to single out Grandview. We know it's going to happen there this year.
We ran there in 2007. Good show. I mean, we ran a 15-lap feature. The first 8-9 laps, there was some 3 wide side-by-sides up until then, but it started to weed itself out. You know, how the guys were geared made a big impression on how the finish was. But, I mean, we run on tracks. There was a 1/20th mile. It was called the Backyard Bull Ring down in Alabama. And we run the 3/8 mile up at Oswego. We ran the 3/8 Shenandoah track in a slingshot. They timed Steve Hicks at Oswego at the end of the straightaway at 100.2 miles an hour in a slingshot. So they can move. Haven't seen the results if they actually would take it into the wall. But Grandview, if you get into the wall at Grandview, you're definitely having yourself, you shouldn't be there, to put it that way. There's enough room at Grandview, as far as the banking going in the corners and the width of the straightaways and stuff, that a trip into the wall shouldn't be a big priority or shouldn't even happen. But I think they'll put on a good show at Grandview. We were asked to have a mile challenge at Syracuse.
I remember a little bit about that, hearing about it.
They want to line all the slingshots, single file across the start-finish line, 1 lap around Syracuse, 1,000 to win. So Rich is thinking about just taking a slingshot and going up where he lives in Annville and mashing the gas for a mile, and if it lasts, we're going to be doing it. So we already got people thinking about teaming up, you know, like they did the 2-car tango at Daytona. Well, they want to have the 2-car tango at Syracuse. So if this goes through, we're going to have the mile challenge at Syracuse for the slingshots. But
I can't resist. Is that something that's going to start on Saturday night and end on Sunday? I'm sorry.
No, I mean,
it just seems. I'm sorry. It just seems so big for these cars. The drivers will pack a lunch and dinner, right?
Surprisingly, I mean, their speeds, they don't look like they go fast, but like I said at Oswego, Steve Hicks was timed at the end of the straightaway at Oswego at 100.2 miles an hour. And Katie McCardle was timed out at Shenandoah at the end of the straightaway at 94.6. So they can get some speed in them, you know, depending on the track. But, you know, we run the indoor circuit, we ran Atlantic City, we ran Fort Wayne. There isn't a track, basically, that can keep the slingshot. Yeah, mile race ought to be something to watch, and you're going to have your ups and downs, but I would love to see 30 cars stacked across the start-finish line and run 1 lap at Syracuse.
That part would be exciting, no question. But competition-wise, because I know I've seen quite a few really good slingshot races at Kutztown. I've seen really good side-by-side action among the slingshots at Linda's. And the same goes for all of the divisions we're talking about. I guess I'm an advocate for short track racing. I didn't say small track, short track racing, but is it about the speed or is it about competition, running side by side?
I think a lot has to do with who's in the race car.
Say that on the microphone, please.
I think a lot of it has to do with who's in the race car. You know, do you have the guy that, you know, like Kenny Brightbill, that walks and plants the right foot all the way to the floor and, you know, passes on the outside? Or do you have the guy that wants to hug the bottom? A lot of the races at Kutztown, Shellhammers, we'll see it at Grandview, Hamlin, you got your guy that's going to take those chances, and a lot of times that guy that takes the chances is going to win about 70–80% of the times. I mean, Cody Klein, when he ran that race at Trailway the other year, I mean, he just mashed the gas on the high side past 3 cars and then just set himself down into the groove. I think a lot of it has to do more with the maintenance of the race car and the driver's attitude itself. You know, not so much the track. Yes, you like to have a nice smooth track and everything, but I think most of what you see on a racetrack is sitting in the cockpit of the race car.
Mr. Dicely, I know you were ready to expound on the subject.
You're not going to get the side-by, at least in the 600s, you're not going to get the side-by-side racing on the big tracks that you do on the small tracks. Maybe for half a corner, but not the dashing back and forth like you do at Lanka or Path Valley when it's right. Even Linda's, you know, that's kind of a narrow track, but you get some side-by-side racing. I mean, me and
you and Brock.
Yeah, me and Brock were side-by-side quite a bit during the
national
for the lead.
Open.
Yeah,
that was an awesome
fun.
race.
Thank you.
You didn't win that one, by the way. I'm sorry.
I forgot.
But it was one heck of a race between you and Brock Zierfoss. Awesome. Kevin, you're a racer. You want to go as fast as possible. You probably love the big tracks for that reason. Or would you rather be wheel-to-wheel trading slide jobs on a smaller track?
My personal preference is I'd rather be wheel-to-wheel slide job. I'm not a big advocate of the big tracks. I mean, Susquehanna, I personally think it's too big, and I do think it is a little dangerous. I'm not big on the guys that have the speed week. I'm not big on them having a race there, and I don't compete at that race either. I don't want to see somebody get hurt, and I think we're really pushing the envelope when we're at that place. And some of the other tracks too. I think Lincoln is probably on that, but Lincoln, I think there's a little bit more room to roam. But I'm an advocate for places like Path Valley, for places like Linda's and Lanco. It keeps me more occupied. It keeps me driving the car. It keeps me up on my toes. And if you hit something, you can bang some stuff up. But it's just the perception, I guess, of what can happen to what actually does happen are two separate things as well.
Tim, you know Brian Levan. You know the name Brian Levan. Brian Levan told me one time, racing a legend car at Wall Stadium. You're very familiar at Wall Stadium too, I know that. It is like, for those cars being at Daytona or Talladega, he said, it's almost scary fast. Is that good? Is that what makes legend car racing good? Where you guys can let it all hang out speed-wise? Or is 3 and 4 wide at Lincoln more conducive?
Well, I honestly could say, and we spoke earlier, you know, Wall Stadium was my home track and I pretty much dominated that track. But on the other hand, Mahoning Valley is absolutely my favorite place I ever raced a race car at as far as driving a legend car. And I'm going to go with these guys on the side-by-side racing is a lot more fun. I'm more happy to get out of a race car running 5th place where I ran with 10 guys around me, surrounding me, you know, trying to win the race than my many times at Wall Stadium just getting out to the lead and walking away and lapping cars. I mean, that wasn't even fun. We got out and it was like, all right, it was another one. But you go to Mahoning and you finish 5th and it's like, damn, I worked my butt off for that tonight. And I would much rather run a side-by-side race and go watch a side-by-side race in any division I've grown up at the racetrack. So I mean, grew up at Dorney Park and Mahoning and Grandview, and you know, that's what, me as a fan, I like to be a fan also inside a race car, not just a race car driver. I mean, it is enjoyable to run against a bunch of guys, and it also, like I said, it takes a guy inside a race car to run clean with and wheel to wheel, and there's nothing better than getting out with your buddies, drinking a beer, laughing, and saying, man, we ran wheel to wheel, bumped a couple times, but that was awesome. And that's, as a fan, that's what the fans like, and that's what, you know, I'm sure most drivers will vouch that they enjoy that.
Not that racers ever drink a beer after the races.
I meant to say soda.
Yeah, there you go. Iced tea. Mickey D's sweet tea. Yeah. Doug, we're going to shift gears just a little bit. And I asked earlier what's good about the XL 600 Modifieds. I should have rephrased it. I'll rephrase it now. Why should someone here tonight, a fan, who likes racing, they watch Daytona on Sunday, now they'd like to go out and check out some local action, why should they come to watch the XL 600 Modifieds?
Good example, last year, the first 18 races we had a different feature winner. It was the 19th race before we had a duplicate winner. That's what it's all about.
It's parity, competition.
I mean, that's what it's all about. And just like what Tim was saying about Mahoning Valley, you know, that is just the coolest little asphalt track going. Last year we raced there, 25 lap feature. It took us 3 minutes to do a 25 lap feature. It was just unbelievable, unbelievable. You know, we just got to halfway and Doug Huffman is there saying, how about another 10 laps yet? I said, Doug, you know, my guys are used to a 25 lap, you know, you just can't throw another extra. He said, yeah, but things are going so good. What about another 10 laps? I said, Doug, we can.
But you guys, the tongues were probably hanging out. They only ran 3 minutes, but that's a lot of work at Mahoney.
Exactly, and just, you know, like for example, like, I mean, it's a quarter-mile asphalt track, we turn it in 10 seconds flat. When the TQs go there, like the TQs in like Mike's asphalt, 600 micro, sprint car, they turn it in the 8 seconds, like the high 8s. I mean, you got to be on your toes there, and they're running two, 3 abreast. I mean, you're just emotionally, you're whooped. I mean, not just the physical part, it's the emotion part. I mean, you're on your toes. I mean, you're trying to think 10 moves ahead, you know, and then before you know it, you know, 3 laps are gone already. You know, it's unbelievable. It really, really is. But like on our deal, you know, I mean, bang for your buck. I mean, kind of like the slingshots, bang for your buck. You have to ask yourself, how much money do I want to spend in racing? That's the first question you have to ask yourself. You know, the best, when I got into ARDC midgets, the first thing I went to an ARDC midget race. Louis Ciccone was the hottest ticket going. What's it going to take to beat Louis Ciccone? How much money? What kind of parts? In a 600 sprint, I would go to the track. What's it going to take to beat Mike Dicely? You know, can I afford that? And can I afford also the first night out, if I tear it up and have junk, can I replace it right then and there so I can finish the rest of the year? You have to always ask yourself them questions. I mean, I'm sure Mike sees it. I mean, guys come in there, they buy the best of everything, they tear it up, and they're done for 2 months or so. You know, so, I mean, we all want to go racing. You know, that's kind of where, like, my cars and the slingshots, you know, we're on the cheaper scale as far as cost effectiveness, you know, purse-wise. We're right in line with these guys with the 600 sprints. I mean, we pay, on a normal night, we pay $300 to win, $50 for last place, and $20 for tow money. You know, I got contracts almost lined up for the whole year this year, as far as once a month we're going to have a $1,000 win show. The Susquehanna race, really, really close to inking the deal there, since that's going to be our big show. That's going to be $2,000 to win. So it's, you know, I mean, I'm doing my part as the promoter end of it, you know, and I got sponsors for this year, more sponsors for this year for Point Fund. We're paying $2,000 to win the points. We're paying $1,800 per second. I've been giving a free frame and body away for 3 years. You know, you come to my banquet, you're walking away with something. A free helmet, free suits, free this. I mean, if you walk away at my banquet with nothing, you're a pretty unlucky person.
That chassis giveaway, that's keeping the geezer in business, right? He was going to hang it up.
Yes,
he won that frame.
Yeah, he won the new frame, and then he put a couple bucks into it, bought a whole new piece, and so we're anxious to see what the geezer can do with brand new equipment.
He says 2011 is the geezer farewell tour. We'll see. But he's got a brand new car to do it.
He has no excuses now.
But I have a question for Doug. Do you get any sleep? You promote all these races and you build all the cars and you don't have any employees, do you?
It's just me.
Man, I don't know.
I'm in the shop. I mean, I knew I had to come down here tonight since I missed it last year. I started this morning at 6 o'clock, and my normal day is 6:30 to like 9:30, 10 o'clock. You know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, what do normal people do when you get off of work at 5 o'clock? I mean, I'd be fatter than I am now.